your community service unless you're actually working.
Yeah, I know. I'm just cleaning up the garbage before I mow.
Mom, there's this photograph I can't get out of my mind. It's not one you shot in the field, but you showed it to me years ago. A little girl in a flowered dress is screaming in the dark. Blood is everywhere. There's a gun and the boots of a man by the edge of a dirt road. You said her parents took a wrong turn or something and were shot and killed instantly. There is agony in the picture. You can see it in her face. Her mother's gone and she knows it. Every time I look at it, I think, I know exactly how she feels. My letter's still here. Usually it's gone by the time I get back. Me too? Me too? Who would do this? This was private. Has to be a guy. His greasy fingers all over this and blocky writing. How dare he? So arrogant to insert himself into my grief? Me too. Privacy is an illusion. There's very little I can do to feel close to her anymore, and now I don't even have this. Do you understand what you've taken from me? What you wrote implies that you understand agony. I don't think you do. If you did, you wouldn't have interfered with mine. Ugh.
What is wrong with you?
You ran into me.
I wasn't the one running.
I'm gonna go tell teacher.
This isn't my fault.
Jerk.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joe.
And I'm Mary.
And we're Book Buds. And today, Mary's going to tell us about Letters to the Lost, which is part of a duology by Bridget Kemmerer.
Yes. So I wasn't going to read this because I've been reading some of the more recent Bridget Kemmerer.
Yeah.
And I said to you, I'm just going to read the ones that I know are like YA fantasy that like I'm sure I'm going to love. And I did all that. And then when I was done, I was like, but I'm really enjoying her. I want to read more. So I guess I'll read everything. So I moved on to Letters to the Lost. And I thought it was like, you know, it talks about being in a cemetery where there's a person leaving a note to her mom, who's passed away, and this other person like intercepts the note, and they start writing back and forth through the letters. And I was like, this is going to be like fluffy and spiritual and whatever. It's not going to be what I want to read. But no, not at all. It was definitely a YA, like kind of like a romance, but really just very deep connection between these characters. It was so enjoyable. I loved it. I was very surprised by it.
Now you keep saying that you love how Bridget Kemmerer like develops her characters. So this was like no exception. It was just as good. Just as good.
I really like. She writes each chapter from a different point of view, so you get fully the girl's point of view, you get fully the guy's point of view, and how they're like clashing and then how they come together. Really so enjoyable. Really, I love her characters, and even like the friends of the main characters, you really get to know them really well and enjoy them. The second book of the duology was about one of the friends, so it was like a continuation, but it wasn't quite the same Letters to the Lost kind of vibe, you know. Still good, but the first book I feel like was better. But yeah, I love her characters.
Now that first book, you said each chapter is a different perspective. Is it just the two main, or
I think
like
it was just the
others
two
as well?
main. Yeah, just back and forth between the two main ones. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
So we have our scene that was in the cemetery, which we were like really careful to be respectful of those that were around us while we were filming.
Yes, I was a little uneasy.
We were a little uneasy. We spoke to them and, you know, asked permission to be there. But in that scene, what you see is the main character, Juliet, who is visiting her mom's cemetery. And she finds the note that Declan writes on, and he wrote the words "me too" because she's like expressing her anguish, and he's like, "me too." And here I thought she was gonna see it as like, oh, somebody, you know, can relate with what I'm feeling, but no, she gets mad. She's like, how dare they assume that they know my agony, and like they're cutting it down and making it like insignificant by saying "me too."
And right there, I would have been pissed and stopped reading because it irritates the crap out of me. Just what you're saying.
I loved it. Oh my
really?
God, I loved it.
I'm like, oh God, she sounds like a whiny pain in the ass.
Well, that's what Declan thought of her also, because so she like bitches him out in a response in this letter, and she leaves it for him, and then he retaliates with some anger as well. But Declan is the guy he's holding on to a lot of anger because his father crashed the car and killed his sister. He was a drunk driver, and the sister died. And everybody thinks that he is like a criminal. He should go to juvie. And a short time after that, he actually crashed a truck into a building, and he was trying to kill himself, but that's not known. And his stepfather filed a charge against him for stealing the truck that he crashed into this building. So he gets arrested for theft. And the school all pegs him as like this criminal loser kid, right? When he's just in agony himself.
Oh my
okay,
gosh.
Nobody knows it, and he's got this very rough exterior that keeps people away, and you don't know the agony that he's got. So when he's writing the letters to her, he reacts with some of his edginess, but then he softens because he really does have a lot of hurt, and it's this anonymous way of communicating. So he kind of sheds it, and he lets some of that sadness out, and he starts connecting with Juliet through these letters. Okay.
So the scenes that we did,
yeah,
like when they bumped into each other in the hallway, where are we with the letters during that meeting?
So I think the first letter's been written. Okay. We bump into each other in school and we hate each other, and I'm like terrified of you. It's like, oh, big bad Declan, I can't believe I just ran into him, and he's like, ugh, this prissy whatever girl, right?
They don't know that
they don't know they're writing the letters, and they don't know for like almost the whole book, I would say. Yeah, it's very interesting. One of them finds out before the other, and they keep it secret because there's so much value to the communication that they have in the letters. They really connect on a very deep level through the letters because it's all about like loss and their role in the loss and like guilt that they have around it and whatever. So I was tearing up numerous times with this book because they were just so expressive of their hurt through all of the writing that they were doing to each other. But then I was enjoying it at the YA romancy kind of level too, because you're like, oh my god, are they gonna meet? Here they're really connected, and if they only knew in real life who they were, So it was very enjoyable, really well written.
It actually sounds really good. The passing of the notes is always done in the cemetery?
So it starts out in the cemetery, and then I think somebody gives like an email address. They're like, hey, I can't wait for like the letter at the cemetery. If you want to write in a different way, email me. So it changes. Yeah.
Okay. I would have liked it to stay there.
It did for a little bit, I think. But yeah.
That's
it would have been too slow if it was always the cemetery.
Yeah. It's a cool concept. Yeah.
It really was. And it was so interesting to see these teenagers support each other on such a deep level like that. I thought that was really very powerful. And it extended a bit to some other characters in the book that had other issues also. Like growing up in an abusive household was one of the kids, and so that bled into some of the story as well. And that's the character that goes on into the second book, that you get more of the story for that person in the second book.
And are these two in the second book?
They're in there, but not central. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I loved it. I'm really enjoying Bridget Kemmerer. Like, yay.
So where are we with your delving into her material?
I've now finished all of her books. I'm really excited.
Oh!
Yes.
Oh my god, that's great!
Yeah. So I think I'll do a video coming up reviewing like an overview of all of her books and which ones I recommend for what type of reading experience.
It's like you just got another degree.
I know.
Holly Black expert, Bridget Kemmerer expert. This is impressive. I'm in some company here.
She didn't have as many books, but it was fun. It was fun to go through them all and check them all off.
Wow,
really all enjoyable.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Have you guys read her at all? I imagine a lot of people have read the more recent ones. I was looking at like the ratings in Goodreads, and she's got a lot of reviews for her more recent books, but not as many for the older ones. So I'll be sure to talk about them in my next video about her, so you guys know if you want to check out some of those older ones.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're enjoying Book Buds, give us a thumbs up.
And share us with your friends.
And subscribe to our channel, Book Buds!
I read this book too. It was stupendous.
Wasn't the one running?
I'm going to tell teacher.
Tell teacher. Use your articles. The one running.
I'm going to tell teacher.
Stop saying that. Why are you saying like it's
a line?
It
I'm
says,
going to tell a teacher.
You didn't say, you said I'm going to tell teacher.
I don't think that's what I said.
You said it the first time.
I was there, but it was breathy.
The first time?
Yes, I think I said both times.
I'm going to tell teacher. That's what I'm hearing. I'm going to tell teacher. You sound like you're in kindergarten. No. What is wrong?
That's a good hit.
Wow. You really,
That was a good hit, right?
Yeah. I wasn't the one running.
I'm gonna go tell teacher. Go tell teacher. Jerk.